What's one change or system you have built that had the biggest impact on repeat purchase and loyalty?
We want to make sure that, like, okay, yeah, we can make an exception. That's okay. So, what I did is I created an internal VIP framework essentially for our agents to be able to look at it and be like, okay. And then gladly, they're able to see kind of like how much they've purchased in the past, how long have they been a customer with us.
What is that one, two top qualities that you look for while hiring anyone in a CX team?
I think being empathetic for sure, having yourself in other people's shoes. I think the second would be listening, making.
Many budget brands struggle with being perceived as cheap rather than affordable. How do you think about positioning and customer experience to ensure 32 degrees is seen as smart value rather than the low end?
I really do think that the opportunities for us have been when something wrong has happened, when something maybe like we've fallen short.
So, yeah, amazing. Let's get started. A very warm welcome, everyone. Super excited to host Jennifer today. She is the Director of Customer Experience at 32 Degrees. Over to you, Jennifer, if you can speak a little bit about your journey so far, being a leader and a woman leader, especially in this space. Would love to hear out your journey and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. Thanks everyone for having me. My name is Jennifer. I'm the customer experience director here at 32 Degrees. I've been here for about 3 years. Next year, and then next month, it'll be 3 years. So a bit of time. And I really have been I've been passionate about CX. I worked at Apple at the retail store for 5 years, and that really kind of fueled my passion for CX into the corporate world. So I worked in, luxury spaces. Obviously now we're, 32 Degrees is an apparel brand. So everyday wear, super great value. Yeah, I continue to learn every day. I love to learn. So love to maybe connect with you guys after this. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jennifer. And your journey starting and spending time at Apple is something that made us think about how someone who has worked at store converts into becoming a customer experience director. And we are going to cover all of that through our questions today. So super excited. Guys, we'll begin with the question. So our first question for today for Jennifer is uh, what is your favorite part of building five-star CX teams? It's a very open-ended question, but high-level thoughts, Jennifer.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, in my opinion, really just empowering my team. I have a team, so I have a core team. We use a BPO. They're based in the Philippines. They're great. My partner Hero. And so we have a core team of 20. And then during Q4, we increased by, well, we have a total of 60 agents. So that's a lot of agents.
Wow.
I have team leads. I do have a direct report that are working with them hand in hand every day. But I do think coming from, like a leader, like I'm, overseeing all of CX, I think it's really good to empower your team and let them know, like, hey, it's okay, like I noticed this mistake. It's okay. Like, how would you maybe if you try again, how would you change this? So I think really empowering them, because when your team feels empowered, they're like, okay, I feel confident to make these decisions, especially when, like leaders are looking at me and they're like, it's okay to make mistakes. How are you going to learn if you don't make mistakes? So I think empowering them, also going into like our help desk, which is Gladly. Sometimes I'll just randomly go into conversations. I can't help myself. I'm a CXer, will always want to answer tickets. So I'll go in there, answer some tickets, and we'll be like, okay, this might not have been the right response. Let me go ahead and flag that, and I'll highlight it to my team leads and just be like, let's maybe reach out to the agent and talk to them about this. And I think always like when you highlight the mistake and you're like, let's move forward from this. Like, how would you go about it? This is how I would. I think just creates a great journey. And I think like with my team now, like we've gone through, especially like with having temp agents, a lot of mistakes. happen because they're temp agents for Q4. But I think just letting them know it's okay, mistakes happen and we're human, you know? I want everyone to also like make sure they're taking care of themselves, making sure they're taking their breaks and making sure they're like, okay, like you need to take a little mental health walk, go ahead, go for it. So just really making sure that the team feels valued.
Got it. Got it. Makes a lot of sense, Jennifer. And I agree with this thought process that when you make someone feel valuable, special, your job is 50, 60% done already. So I
Mm-hmm.
agree to that point. Coming to our next question, Jennifer, for you, what are some of the biggest wins you have been able to champion coming into the new year? It's just the beginning, but would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, definitely. Well, is can I bring up like Q4
Yeah,
2025?
sure. Sure.
I think that is my biggest win, to be honest. When I started 3 years ago, my first Q4 was not great. I was not prepared and I was not ready for the volume. We are very high order volume. So that obviously translates into just high inbound volume. And I was not prepared at all. Over the years, I've made improvements. I've seen what's obviously not worked, what's worked. And really specifically in Q4 for 2025, I really started preparing early as of July, like in the summer, because I know that our Q4 is really like that's what we prep for all year. We want to make sure we're prepped, the team is prepped, and they feel confident. So I made sure that I started prepping in July. I started letting our BPO know, like, hey, I want to hire this amount of people. Let putting the feelers out there to start hiring. And then also making sure like all of our workflows, our SOPs, our policies, everything was kind of aligned, and also sharing that with our BPO, making sure that they feel confident. They're like, okay, this is good. If they have any questions, just really reviewing everything before peak season. Not only and also like going back to like hiring early, we hired all of these agents. Probably they were already hired by first week of September. So they were able to feel really be in the CX function at 32 degrees without hitting peak yet. This makes them feel more confident to not only be like, okay, yes, I know this, I know this is what I have to do. This is the next step. But they're like, okay, they don't feel as overwhelmed where they're like in peak. Imagine they're just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. They're stressing out. So just really prepping early. It also showed in our like metrics. We improved tremendously. I just did a side by side, like a high level presentation for my of like how we did Q4 2024 and versus 2025. We improved tremendously, and it really was the prep and just making sure the communication it was aligned with everyone.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense, Jennifer. And since you're talking about prep, and I really agree with that thought process, can you also share a little bit about because you have a huge BPO team currently, and the brand in itself is of a nature where these are SKUs that keep changing really fast. So, how do you ensure that there is proper training that's happening for such a large team that you have hired or outsourced in Philippines?
Yeah, so I think Um, we have a weekly CX report sent every day. So we have what our metrics that are important for us, especially during Q4, are, like first response time, average hand, how fast we're getting to the how quickly are we able to resolve essentially the conversation, because obviously we're selling a product that is affordable. It's a good price, but we want to make sure the speed. We need to make sure, okay, like we obviously have our entire team here. We have a large team. How are we able to fully like meet our metrics while we have such huge inbounds? So what I did is obviously we do a CX daily report. That's kind of throughout the year. Everyone is able to see like where we're at. Obviously for the day before, be like, okay, and the report essentially shows like if we are in the green, like we're good. It won't show like it'll just be normal. But if we let's say like get into like all right, we're maybe line for like our FRT past this amount of hours or minutes, it'll be yellow, it'll be highlighted yellow. So it's very clear for the team to see like we need to work on this. What I also did during Q4 is I sent like morning afternoon and like end of day updates of like our inbound volume, and like essentially kind of being like, these are our cues, this is how much we need to get through. Like everyone, like, and it wasn't to pressure our team, it was just like, I want everyone to be aligned where we're at, this is the situation, because transparency is key. So I think that also really helped for everybody like on board, be like, guys, like our goal is to kind of needs to be closing around maybe 70 tickets a day. Let's get as close as possible in order to meet our goal for tomorrow.
Got it, Jennifer. And do you train these folks just for post-purchase queries, or also they ensure that pre-purchase queries are also well taken care of?
Yeah, everything.
Everything. Okay. Okay.
Wait, sorry, what was that? What was the question again?
Okay. So I was asking, do you train these BPO folks on post-purchase queries or even on the pre-purchase queries as well?
Oh, yes. They are trained on everything. They have to handle any sort of question that comes our way. And usually, honestly, most of the time, our questions are post purchase. That's a huge percentage of it.
Yeah, makes sense. And like someone has asked a very interesting question to you, which was along these lines. Many budget brands struggle with being perceived as cheap, rather than affordable. How do you think about positioning and customer experience to ensure 32 degrees is seen as smart value rather than the low end?
Yeah, I love this question because I do think because our products are, lower price, they're at an accessible price. A lot of people don't think that TX will essentially be good. They'll be like, oh, they're probably going to get a response in like a few days. But this is when I go wrong. And I really do think that the opportunities for us have been when something wrong has happened, when something maybe like we've fallen short, maybe for then there was, we accidentally, we didn't ship the entire order. Maybe that was like on our house or something like that. And that's obviously on us. We obviously speed is important, but also recognizing the fact that, okay, we did something wrong. Let's go ahead and fix this as quickly as possible. That it kind of proves to the customer, like, okay, like we love to be like, yes, we kind of take, that accountability and we're like, we're going to right and we're going to make it right fast. That is and just letting them know like, hey, yeah, of course, no, like we're so sorry, we'll go ahead and take care of this, all right, we'll go ahead and process a replacement for you. So I think like when there is an issue and we're able to fix it, the customer kind of sees like, okay, wow, like I not only did they answer my question, my email pretty quickly, but they also took care of my problem pretty quickly. So that builds trust and loyalty. And I do think that's why customers do come back. And I also do like, I'm very heavy on like being empathetic and listening. At the end of the day, yes, like I have sold $500 perfumes, but I'm still wanting to provide that same CX that I'm providing here at 32 degrees. Doesn't matter on the, on the product or the cost.
Absolutely, absolutely, Jennifer. And I agree, every issue that you get from your customer is a chance to build a positive PR for the brand. So, the sooner you
Yeah,
solve, making them
definitely.
feel special is all it takes to do that.
For sure.
Amazing, Jennifer. Moving on to next. What's one change or system you have built that had the biggest impact on repeat purchase and loyalty?
I think with 32 degrees, we have a lot of customers that have been loyal customers for years. And this is something that obviously, like being here for 3 years, almost 3 years, I've noticed like we have some really great loyal customers. And I think that what I really wanted to do, and I'm going to shout out my friend Ashley at Caraway. Policies are meant to be broken, and this is something I took away from her, and I'm like, it is so true. We have all these policies. We're like, you can't refund this, or you can't do this, and you can't do that. But when it comes to our really great loyal customers that love the brand and keep showing up for us, we want to make sure that like, okay, yeah, we can make an exception, that's okay. So what I did is I created an internal VIP framework essentially for our agents to be able to look at it and be like, okay, and then gladly they're able to see kind of like how much has how much they've purchased in the past, how long have they been a customer with us, are there any red flags in their account, anything, any fraudulent transactions, anything like that that's been flagged. I want to see kind of where they're at with us. So I essentially created a framework for it. It's like, they spent, like 5,000 in these amount of years, X, Y, and Z. And so they're able to look at that within that framework and be like, hey, this customer is asking for an exemption. For example, a customer won't be like, hey, my order wasn't delivered. It says it was delivered by FedEx, but it doesn't, but it's not here. So what we'll do is we'll be like, okay, no problem. We'll just take a look at their account. And usually what we'll do for those instances, delivered, not received, we'll provide a store credit. So essentially they can just place the order again. We'll just send them an invoice and they'll place the order again, so it's quicker, but they will essentially like that's what we do for delivered not received. And what we'll do is like, if let's say they kind of go into that VIP framework, we'll go ahead and just be like, especially if they're pushing from it, if they want a reshipment or if they want a refund, we'll just go ahead and do that. We'll be like, okay, no problem, they fit into that bubble of the VIP framework, we'll go ahead and refund them. And then the agent at that moment feels empowered to make that decision. They don't have to go to one of their team leads or to, me or my direct report and ask for assistance. So there's less friction. It's easier. It's simpler for the customer. There's less touch points, but also we created a Slack channel so the VIP framework is there. So if let's say an agent is maybe confused, maybe they're like, oh, I'm not sure if we can provide this exception, even though they kind of hit these, points in the VIP framework. Okay, well, let me go in the Slack channel for the VIP customers and ask them. I do love to also do for like first time customers. I'll literally, if they don't know our return policy, they're like, I want to return final sales. And our policy states that we can't, you can't return a final sale. We'll be like, you know what? No problem. Go ahead and keep it. We'll go ahead and send you a store credit. This is what our policy. It also gives us a moment to we're being an exception, but just for next time, this is what our policy is.
Yeah, this is so, so smart, Jennifer. Both things, the framework that you mentioned, and also how empowered you can make a first-time customer feel so that they become a returning user. This is so smart. Absolutely. Something for me also to apply in my business, a key takeaway. Thank you so much. I had a very exciting next question, Jennifer, that is someone related to you, to your personal career and professional life, which is, what made you choose customer experience as your choice of career?
Oh my God, I love this question. I think, like I said before, I worked at Apple for 5 years in a retail store. So I was always talking to different people, and I was always in store too. So it's like you're in person. Um, and I just really, really liked talking to different people every day. And I think like sometimes, I was just selling, iPhones and iPads and things like that. But I just feel like every time I left work, I always like met someone that was really cool, that like had a story. And I really just being people. And I think when I got the opportunity to work somewhere else, that essentially I was working for a company called the House of Creed. So they're luxury perfumes. And I was just a customer service, agent answering tickets and stuff. But I really just cared about the customer. I was like, this isn't right. What are we going to do about this? And I really cared about their journey. And I'm like, I'm a myself and like, and I would not like this. So I think just the passion of like helping people, placing orders and stuff. I think also like when I would help customers in the store, I speak Spanish. I would Spanish to them. I would be the person that they would. I think it just comes down to helping people. And then overall throughout my career, the actual CX journey, I really became passionate about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Empathy comes from your heart, Jennifer, and that reflects a lot. Even in last 20 minutes of conversation, I could feel it from heart, that empathy. You speak empathy. in general.
I hope I do.
Yeah, that's amazing, Jennifer. And also, like extending to that question, just a follow-up question from my side would be if someone is deciding to take a leap in towards a customer experience as a career, or let's say you are hiring your team members, what is that one, two top qualities that you look for while hiring anyone in a CX team?
I think the I think being empathetic for sure. Having yourself in other people's shoes. I think the second would be listening, making sure you're listening. You can listen to people because sometimes I think people think that they're listeners and they're not truly listeners. They listen to just speak. Listening, being empathetic. Um, and also, I think when people look at CX, CX is just like bottom of the barrel type of thing.
Yeah.
And every company that I've gone into, I'm like, no, I'm going to make sure that this is like we are a super important department. You see the value. I think the last thing would be someone that's willing to learn and it's like in willing to learn through challenges.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And not just CX, Jennifer, I feel any kind of role which is customer facing, whether even if it's sales, it's important to be empathetic for sure.
Yes,
Uh,
definitely.
Absolutely, Jennifer. And the one question which I ask always in all of my AMAs is one piece of advice, Jennifer, that you would like to give to these young women that are sitting across the audience today. Some of them, envisioning to be becoming like you in few years, some taking some inspiration in terms of how you have built such a successful CX team at 32 degrees. What is that piece of advice that you would love to give today?
But the piece of advice I would love to give to, I guess, like other women in the CX space would be to always follow your gut and always be true to yourself. I think it's important in just any company. Your ideas can get shut down a lot. And I think maybe just continuing to fight for like what you believe is right and continuing to wanting to like learn um is don't ever give up. Keep pushing. That's how I'll answer that.
Keep pushing. And Jennifer, like what's that one thing if you were to go back, look at your career again, what is that one thing you would have done differently?
I think the one thing I probably would have done differently, and now I'm completely different. I think when I was younger and starting out in my CX career, is me taking feedback as well as I could have. I think feedback is super important. But I think when I was younger, I wasn't as open to it as I am now. And feedback will only, as long as it's with a great approach, feedback is great for you to learn and improve. I ask for feedback all the time, wanting to see what I can do that's better and how I can grow. So, yeah, that's something I probably would change.
Amazing, Jennifer. And last question for today would be who's your role model, Jennifer? Whom do you look up to when it comes to building, let's say, your career in customer experience or even in your personal life? Who is that role model that inspires you every day?
Honestly, I would say my mom. I think, we're both minorities and women in corporate jobs, and I think sometimes our voices aren't always heard. And I think my mom has been, you know, she's, we moved here from Colombia and Mexico, and she has been working and has literally shown me that hard work can get you anywhere, and to also to always like just so my role model will definitely be my mom.
Such a powerful story. And I hope she hears the recording, or if she's here already listening to this, convey my regards to her as well. Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining in today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. We'll have the recording of this session available for everyone in the community shortly. If you haven't joined the community yet, there is a link from my team in the chat section. Go ahead, join it. Also, you'll get the link in your email box right after this session. Thank you so much, Jennifer, once again for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.